And while he's doing the video, Patrick is going to narrate it. The sheriff.
I'll just try to tell you where we are here in our jail. You see the back of the jail there where the old veterans building is. That's where we have our detective offices, our meeting rooms, our secretaries are all over there. The building to the right of that is the old McAllen Fouch attorney building. The county does not own that. You'll see the patrol car on the right-hand side. The upper right-hand side that's a public parking lot that the county owns. Yep. They do not own the lot where the trees are. That's to your right, to the left, or to the right? Yes, the county owns that lot there. There is a small triangle to the right of where we're looking at here that the county does not own. There is just a very small triangle that is there. There is a view from 3rd Street looking at the Veterans Building. You're looking from the courthouse. This is the Sallyport area. It's a one-car Sallyport. It's where we bring our inmates into the jail, our arrestees. We bring them in and close the gate behind us. This is where you walk into, the public walks into. This is our station here where one of our correctional officers stays all the time. That TV that you see hanging there shows our 32 cameras that are in the jail that they can sit and look at and observe the inmates and other places around the jail. This is our printer room that you walk in here. To the left is where we have all of our civil papers, our state warrants. It's also our brain box of our telephone systems and some of our booking systems that's over in the other side. This is where our deputies come in and do their reports or serve papers on people. This is the sheriff's office, which was the old 911 building. This is the main brain box of the jail that does our cameras, our booking systems. To the left is an old bathroom. We'll come back to that. I think it'll bring you back. This is the captain's office. This was an old bathroom that we had tore out to use for storage. It was our evidence room at one time, and we moved that to another area. We're going into, you notice the doors do not line up there. That's in between the booking area and the maximum security cells. Here's inside of one of the maximum security cells. It's a shower area. There are 3 cells that are in here with 2 beds apiece. You notice the holes that are drilled in the wall. We've done that for TCI, for natural lighting, where the inmates could see that it was daylight outside. This particular cell does not have a security ceiling in it. So everything's exposed up at the top. This is one of the cells that are in here. You notice the height. That's what the camera guy is trying to do, to show you the height of the cells. Beds that are in that particular cell. There is your toilet with your sink. That particular cell there has a security ceiling in it. This is our control room, where we control our door locks. Also, we can look in the annex. This is a supply closet that is in the annex. This is the nurse's room. That there is the jail sergeant and jail corporal's office. This is the booking shower for where every inmate that we have comes into our jail that's going to go into a regular cell, takes a shower out. All those lockers are where we house the inmates' personal belongings when they come to jail, and some of them are employees' lockers for the corrections. This is our booking area where we book our inmates. We fingerprint them, do everything in there. This is the main annex cell. You can see the showers and the commodes that are there with the sinks. Notice it has no security system or security ceiling in it either. Everything's exposed. That's where every escape that we've had has been in the annex area since I've been in office. This is the room, or the hallway that connects the booking to the outside. This is the visitation area where the public comes in. They look on those cameras. There's a camera in the cells also that they can see. This is what we use for attorney inmate visitation. This is the old side of the jail, the old where we used to house women. We house men in there now. Usually 5 or 6 there. This is an old holding tank. Notice it doesn't have any bathroom facilities in it, no sink or commode. These are the side cells, the maximum security cells on the old side. There are 3 cells there with 2 beds in each cell. It only has 1 shower in the first cell, so we have to let the other 2 cells out to go into that cell to shower. That door to the right is the one that goes outside to the exercise pen. This is our kitchen. This is actually 2 rooms. One of them used to be the sheriff's office back before the annex was built, so they built it all into a kitchen. This is also the office for the person that takes care of the all of her meals there at the jail. This goes down into the basement area. Those steps are very dangerous. There's no other way of getting down other than walk around the building or go down the steps. This is in the basement of where all of her deep freezes are for all of her frozen food. Also, it is our storage area for all the inmates' oranges and stuff that we have. We put that down there. It's where we wash our clothes, dry the inmates' clothes. You're going back to the old basement part cells that were shut down first. We use that now for storage. We took some of the beds out. You can see where the beds were up against there. This is the other cell that you're fixing to go into. Keep all our jail supplies now. This was an old holding cell. It had no camera or anything in it, so TCI would not let us keep anybody in there. It's our library for inmates. Still in the basement. This is where our trustee pod was when we were in the basement. We just use it for storage. This room here was the shower area for trustees. They wanted to look here where vents was for dryers next to the gas meter. This is the back side of the jail. It's their car wash area is the first pen. The next pen is the where inmates come out for rec time, and the other pen is for our impound lot. You see the crack in the building. You heard us talk about the crack of where TCI would not let us have one certification in the beginning, so they did not build those together in the back. They exposed central heat and air units that are back there, the vents. If we have to have a new central heat and air unit, we have to get a company with a crane to come and pull those out and then put them back. They wanted to show the drain, natural drain that comes out. You notice the walkway. We have to do perimeter checks around the jail every hour, so that is the walkway all the way around it. What we looked at here was when all the rain comes from the square. It goes right down into this. It looks like a waterfalls that is coming down. Notice on the right-hand side, the cracks that are in between the steps in the building. Your right side is the Board of Education. It all goes down to a drain that is in the bottom. This is the front of the jail. You see the crack that is in there between the sidewalk and the building. So when all that water comes, we don't know where it goes. When the city went and redid the paving of the square, we asked them to cut down the pavement to give us some sidewalk that was on there, and they were good enough to do that and put a drain in for us. But it still comes, they're probably ankle deep of water when it rains, any amount at all there. Yes.
Thank you, Tony. We'll remind y'all to turn your microphones on if you'd like to speak. And I told Tony when he first did this, the camera lights did not do justice to that jail because it's nowhere near that light in there. There's parts of it that really looks like a dungeon when you get down in it. So camera lights are really effective. So in the last meeting, we had a motion to ask an architect and a construction company that we've been working with to come up with a plan.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear the public speak at the beginning instead of at the end, if there's not an objection to that, because I'd like to know what they've got to say and what they think, since they're going to be the ones writing the check. I don't want us to do all our work and then at the end let them talk after we get done doing what we're going to do, if there's not a problem with that.
You want to make that in form of
I want to put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Greg seconds it. Any discussion? Beth, you want to do a roll call?
Yes, I sure will. Tom Chandler? Do you
yes or no?
support the motion to let the public speak first? Okay. Daniel Cripps? Sabrina Farler?
Yes.
Myron Rohde?
Yes.
Brandon Donnell?
Yes.
Tony Luna?
Yes.
Greg Matthews?
Yes.
Larry Green?
Yes.
Jeff Barnes? Andy Snow? Pack, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Okay, so we'll have public comment at this time.
All right, anyone would like to speak, come up, and you can speak for 3 minutes. Pardon? Well, that's kind of what my thought was, but Myron made this motion.
Well, my thought is, once we get done and we vote on something, then we don't know what your thoughts are. And if we go ahead and approve something and we haven't heard from you, then you can speak at the end and it won't make any difference then. The business will be done.
Well, and I think maybe to Darcy's point too is there is also a workshop and a commission meeting before this will be approved. All we're going to do tonight is make a recommendation. If we make a recommendation, it's just a recommendation, which will go to the county commission meeting the end of this month, and it will be also be discussed in the workshop, I'm sure. So whatever decision we make tonight, they're still going to have plenty of time to talk about it.
I'm good if the public's good.
I didn't hear the question. This is a recommendation to go to the commission which will be approved at the next commission meeting.
Before we can make an educated comment on what's being proposed. I think that makes sense, to me anyway, to hear what the recommendations are, and then if we have support or opposition to it, so be it.
Myron's your motion, you want to withdraw it?
Yeah, that's fine with me. If the public's fine with it, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so the last meeting, there was a motion made to get 3 prices. To have the architect and the construction people come up here, go through the jail, look at what we have inside the jail. We wanted to make a comparison of the same thing on the existing site and also using the lot next door to us that we don't own, and then on just a flat-out green site. So that's what they've done, and I handed out this is a site drawing right here. This is a site drawing. I talked to John this afternoon. John was going to be here tonight, but he came down with a stomach virus over the weekend, so he couldn't come. And it is possible, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, it is possible to do a 1-story jail next to the existing jail, but still have to use the existing jail for the administration part. The cost, he said, is going to be probably still a little bit more to use the existing site because of the restrictions of room and everything we have. But the existing jail, they've got on these costs $5.6 million to redo the existing jail, whatever we do downtown. Plus whatever we do downtown, like he says, whatever we do downtown is all we're ever going to do downtown, because there is no more room to expand it. So the existing site, the 150-bed, 2-bed existing site would run $36.8 million on 152 beds. On a green site, a 152-bed jail would run $28.2 million, roughly an $8 million difference. And remember, 5.6 of it is in reusing the old jail. And they did point out too about, especially when they were up here going through the jail, when they get into that jail to start refurbishing inside it, they have no idea what they're going to get into. When you start knocking down walls and tearing up floors, because basically they got to gut the inside of the jail. So there's a difference there. Then if we build a 200-bed jail on the existing site, it's $43.8 million, and on a green site, it's $34.5 million. So you're roughly $8 to $9 million difference on building the same thing downtown that you would build on a green site. And I will tell you too that I talked to the Smith Road people that own Smith Road property we looked at, and they've offered to sell it for $1.8 million instead of $2 million. If that makes a difference. So that's, and then we have the Robinson Road property, which is $1.3 million for 36 acres. So there's the numbers that we had asked them to come up with, and now it's up to us.
Can you repeat the prices for the properties? Smith Road was what now?
You've got it right here on these sheets, Beth.
Oh, okay, good deal.
These sheets are broken down by 152-bed existing site, 152-bed green site, 200-bed existing site, 200-bed. And it breaks it down pretty thoroughly. You noticed on the existing site, there is a miscellaneous logistics utilities laydown. That's the $5.6 million to rework the inside of the jail. And the only thing they're planning on us using it for is administration. There would be no prisoners inside that, inside the existing jail.
She was needing the property prices.
Yeah, I was talking
Pardon?
about the property.
Prices.
Property prices?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
1.8 for Smith Road.
1.8 million for Smith Road.
And 1.3.
And 1.3 million for Robinson Road. And there's 36 acres on Robinson Road, and 72 acres on Smith Road.
So let me ask you a question, Larry.
Well, let's get a motion on the floor and then we'll discuss.
I'll make a motion to eliminate the existing site and build on a new space.
Have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. Greg?
Yeah, so obviously both of these says it costs more to leave it where it's at. Do the ones offsite have in the cost for the sheriff's office part? Or is these strictly just inmate housing and stuff like that? Because if it's strictly inmate housing, then these numbers cannot be correct.
The offsite does have the sheriff's offices, the booking,
So
and everything
that
in
has
it.
everything already added into this.
Yes. We were trying to make sure that we were comparing everything together. Yes. Yes. Most of Robinson Road is inside the city limits. There's a little corner of Robinson Road that's not inside the city limits that the property owner has said that if we need to get it annexed, they would be happy to work with us on getting annexation done. Any other discussion?
I have a question. What is this?
That is the green site rendering, and it shows the little faded area down there that's not quite, that shows expansion. The blue is all inmate housing, and then the part that's separated is administration, sheriff's office, booking. And yes, and these are simply renderings. These are nowhere near what we would draw up to send out to contractors to bid on. Once we make a decision on the land, then the next step is hiring an architect, and then the architect, the sheriff, TCI, and the commission will get together and work on the final plan for it, and then the architect will draw up blueprints and send it out to contractors. And if we buy any land that we buy, by the way, we have to buy pending soil samples. And both parties that we've talked to understand that. And we'd even have to soil sample downtown. So a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Before I vote, I'd just like to say the approximate 150 to 200 beds. I know I have some questions about that, but that's not this motion, but it may
Yeah.
determine how I vote.
Yeah, this is just a land vote tonight. The 152, 200 beds is going to have to be worked out.
Like,
So we're not even
Because
going to,
TCI has to agree with everything we do.
so we're not even looking at Smithville Elementary property when the school's destructed and gone. And there's 14 acres there
No.
that we already own.
Well, the school board owns it.
Yeah, but the taxpayer owns it. And it's got all the infrastructure already there.
so does TCI even support the 150 beds then, by that statement? Is that something that they approve both of these options? That may change, and I hate to ask that question, but it kind of makes a difference.
I've talked to Bob about it,
Uh-huh.
and he said if we build 152 beds, we're going to have to really get into getting our recidivism rate down. And he said if we build the programming in here like the state will help us do, it's possible that we can do the 152 beds and we'll be okay. We had 102 beds before, and so we're going to 152 on it. So he said it's possible.
But
But
if we
you'll
vote
notice on that-
possible in order-
We'll be behind the 8 ball before we even get this structure
But
finished.
we're not
in
discussing the-
152.
I
Let's
know,
stick to the land tonight.
So this motion is all simply about the current site or some other site?
Yes,
It isn't what the site is, it's just current site and some other site.
That's
yes.
correct.
So I'm just gonna make a couple comments. One, I think we always run a danger when we're asking for comments in these meetings. But we're only getting a perspective of the people sitting in this room. That's not necessarily a reflection of the rest of the county. But a question that the taxpayers need to give us some input about is, we've had a lot of kickback of people wanting to see the jail on the current site no matter what, because they don't want a disruption to their neighborhood or for whatever reason. So we do at some point need some feedback from the citizens of the county in some way. Are you willing to pay another $8 to $9 million to have it on the current site? Knowing that if you say that, that is going to impact potentially the tax rate. And my gut kind of tells me that, well, there's certainly people in this county, because they show up for our meetings, that want it on the current site no matter what the cost is. And I'm also a little bit concerned that we're just, Myron, I'm not trying to pick on you, but you brought up about the 14 acres we own where the school is sitting. In my view, the only infrastructure that's there is water and power. The school itself, to me, is not usable for anything. And we already know that part of that property is a swamp. So
What part is that? I've mowed the whole property. I've not got any swamp over there.
As I understood it, when we discussed this before, on the back side of that property, there was some part of that land that had some issues. But when we discussed this a long time ago. So
I've never seen it either.
I'm a little concerned that we continue to throw in things like that and have people believe again that there's some magic bean answer here that doesn't exist.
Sabrina?
The cheapest option for the county, is an off-site from these four paperwork. I just want that to be stated. I can see it, but
Yeah.
there is no other option to make the on-site. There is no way, talking to him about that, to make the on-site comparable. Am I correct?
Right.
I know you've said that, but I just want to re-ask that question because this is a big commitment for our community, and we each are sitting here and have been voted on by our constituents, and I pray that I make the right decision.
Any other comments? Beth, you want to call the roll?
Yes. And the motion on the table is to not build on the current site. Tom Chandler,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps. Is that yes?
I don't understand.
It's a yes.
Okay. Sabrina Farler,
So restate the question, because I was going to say, so it's,
it's a motion
Or
to
yes or-
not, yes is you don't want to build it on the current site.
okay.
No is you want to leave that open.
So yes would be on a green side. is what you're
Yes.
saying. Yes, due to the cheaper price.
Myron Rhodey,
No.
Brandon Donnell,
Yes.
Tony Luna,
Yes.
Greg Matthews,
Yes.
Larry Green,
Yes.
Jeff Barnes, Andy Pack,
Yes.
and Beth Pafford. Is a no, because I'm just not ready to eliminate all the options. But I do realize off-site's probably
So the
a
motion
better
passes.
cost. So the motion passes.
Any other motions?
9 yeses. You say any other motions?
Any other motions?
I am going to make a motion that we put out a call for any other land possibilities that are within the county growth plan, that are the city growth plan for the city of Smithville, you know, that goes out. I know we've talked about Robinson and Smith, but I'm just wondering if there are some properties over by near where the Busy Mart area is, that would put the jail in closer proximity to, have we talked about the 911 department going at the health department, the old health department? Have we talked about that? I mean, so this is going to be a ripple effect for a lot of things. And we've talked, you know, if we exit the current jail, that's going to be space for something that hopefully somebody will come in and have to spend a lot of money to do, you know, whatever they do, tear it down, turn it into something useful for downtown, for citizens and for the community. But we're moving off site, so we are going to be transporting people. And so something that's closer to the courthouse is desirable, which with the Smithville Elementary property, if we did something behind Smithville Elementary as far as the jail goes, and then later revamped the, you know, school area, or revamp that for offices. You could even have drug rehabilitation program over there, or drug court offices there. I mean, there's a lot to consider. I think the business community, when they came at our last meeting, brought up some really good points about thinking about how this decision impacts multiple, or has the potential to impact multiple areas. And this is an opportunity for us to do something that, I mean, if putting people in jail kept them from breaking laws or doing drugs or stealing, our crime rate would be down, would have gone down. But it's not. So those programs are important, and having a place where you have space to do all that, I think, is an important consideration. And having the jail closer rather than further out from the hospital, which they have to transport people to, the courthouse, which they're going to be transporting people to for court, and if 911, or we move the ambulance service out toward the hospital area, you know, the ambulance transports them to the hospital. So those are just things that I'm thinking about. And so I'm going to put a motion on the table that maybe we advertise, you know, if there's any other property out there or people that would like to open the property, to submit that to the mayor's office for consideration.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Any other motions besides that? If not, we'll open it up to public comments. And you have 3 minutes. State your name, address, or district you live in, and we'll give you 3 minutes. as soon as I find my clock.
Steve Cantrell, District 5. I really appreciate all the work that everybody's been doing, and I found the discussion very interesting, and I'm glad we're having this at the end, although it behooves us both in the beginning and the end in many cases. There were some facts that were not considered in the estimate, and I don't know if Ms. Pafford realized it, but here's what the issue is, and Matthias is not here. Matthias highlighted in previous discussions the cost of transporting prisoners from a green space to the city and what that was going to cost. That was a lot of money. And what I would do is I recommend that you all, for the working group or the commission working group, that you get those figures, because those could, in a matter of maybe 10 years to 12 years, offset those costs for building it downtown as opposed to on a green space. I just want to make sure that whatever decision, all the factors have been taken into consideration. Mr. Chandler's right. First of all, everybody recognizes we need a new jail. Anybody that doesn't has got blinders on, because it's the lack of a new jail that is costing us a lot of people that shouldn't be on the streets and recurring criminals. But the other thing is, there are people that want it downtown because they think it can be done. Now, Mr. Chandler has argued that we'll have to, basically lock up that part of town. Well, if we go ahead and build it in green space and commercial goes in there, which many of the business members of the community would like to see happen, it's going to also close down that space until those things are done. Concerns made by one of my good friends was about asbestos abatement. Well, yes, there could be a problem with asbestos abatement, but if the property is sold and a commercial entity goes in there, there's going to be asbestos abatement there at the same time. There are a lot of things that are sort of transparent in this discussion. All we're looking at now is jail here, jail there, but not the logistics of going back and forth. So I would ask that you consider that as you go forward. Thank you.
Darcy Cripps, 1st District. I've spoke many times. Y'all know where I'm at on this. How many offers have we had on the jail property to buy it right now? I know you're not going to answer my question. I know you guys put a lot of effort in this. Some of you have, and some of you have sat back and waited on what you hear. I know we need a jail. I've worked or been involved in emergency services most of my life. I understand how it works. I like the idea of leaving the jail where it's at and building right where it is. The prisoners have walked across the street for a lot of years, and some pretty serious criminals have been escorted across that road with no incident except one that I know of. Do you know of any? You're not supposed to answer, I'm sorry. I just don't think, and maybe I should say my prayer is, that DeKalb County doesn't need a 200-bed jail or a 250-bed jail or a massive criminal justice center. I think where we are is a nice area. I think people are used to the jail being where it's at. I don't think it's going to affect the Jamboree one way or the other, nor do I think it's going to affect Friday night shopping, Thursday night shopping, whatever's going on at the Harvester or anything else. I think it is where it is, and I think 152 beds with priorities being on education and ability to teach and maybe rehabilitate. Our drug court is amazing, and I think with their help, they do amazing work, and I think with their help, you know, maybe a new facility where we've got somewhere to work. I don't know. I just think going to 70 acres, y'all know I've said it over and over, I just think that's ridiculous. I think this county has so many more priorities that we should be concentrating on besides building a complex. That's just the way I look at it. I've said it. I've voiced my opinion. I have tried to talk to several of y'all, and I don't think I'm alone in what I think. I know my time's up, but I couldn't let it go by and not speak.
Others?
Paul Miranda, 4th District. I think Mr. Chandler hit it on the head when it comes down to this. And I'm sure you guys are getting a lot of blowback and a lot of frustration from the public, not just with who shows up here, but people probably who run into you on the street. Each one of you were elected here to represent a district, the mayor, the county. Your opinions are important, and the running of everyday, mundane, routine business is something you don't want to have the public always having their input in and their thumbprint on every little thing. But huge, enormous decisions like this do need to go to the public because you are representatives. Your opinions are your opinions. Ms. Cripp's opinion and anybody else here's opinion has equal weight. If you have more information, you should be sharing that information. It should be line by line somewhere where people can go to and look at pros and cons of this location, pros and cons of this location, pros and cons of that location. Open book. Then get input from your citizenry. Have town hall meetings. Send out mailers, and have people return them. If they're truly invested in it and want to make or have their thoughts brought back to their representative so that regardless, you could hate the idea. That's fine. But your constituents say this is what we want. That's how everyone should be looking at this. So now I'm going to go back to, if you see a problem, and if you don't have a solution to that problem, you shouldn't complain about it. I'm going to continue to go back to the transfer station property, which this county already owns. Not one dime would have to go towards any property purchase in that location. And you usually know when you're on the right track when you get input from other people who are in other government, county jobs and places. I believe one has even addressed Mayor Adcock in regards to a solution of the traffic problem, because they were concerned about backing up trucks, about running a parallel road right next to that on the Tenneco property, which is no longer owned by Tenneco. It's owned by an LLC out of Chicago. And the mayor was given that information so that he could contact them about possibly using that as an easement to go back to the property that's just adjacent to the transfer property. If nobody even wanted to move the transfer property, you still have plenty of acreage. I sent Commissioner Matthews some emails that had photographs of the Coffee County Jail, measurements, length, width, 400-bed facility. That facility would sit directly on top of the current transfer station location, twice as much as what you guys want, which includes a sheriff's station. So that is a perfect location. It's not in residential. It's got all the power and sewer you would need. It's got property around it that could be used for impound yards.
Time's up.
Commissioner Green talked about the expansion of the transfer station at some point. Well, I've talked to Mr. Reed over there. That hasn't even been brought up or addressed. Yeah, that's kind of on the wish list.
Your time is
checklist.
up.
Anyway, please consider and take a trip out to the transfer station property. Take a look at it. It's more than what you need.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll hear a motion to adjourn. Jeff Barnes made a motion. Tony second. All in